Hello and welcome to another episode of That Football Topic. I'm your host, as always, Sam Furmaniak, and today we are getting into my divisional round recap. Oh my goodness, how about those divisional games? I mean, geez, I have never seen a weekend slate of games that good. Every single game was decided on the final play. I don't think we're going to see anything like that for a while. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We started off the weekend, Saturday afternoon, with Bengals at the Titans. The Titans, the number one seed in the NFL. We're expecting Derrick Henry back. He was back. Was the return of the king. He didn't play that great. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. It's not like they didn't work him that much. I mean, he had 20 carries, but he averaged 3.1 yards. I mean, he did score that one touchdown, 62 yards. It was mainly Deonta Foreman. He got the ball. He was ripping off big runs. He only got 4 carries, though. And, of course, we weren't able to do our stop the clock for last week, so didn't really get into – I mean, I posted my predictions, but I didn't get into why. And the reason I did take the Titans was because I was really worried about the Bengals' offensive line. I was like, oh, this is the one shaky part of their team. I don't know how well they're going to be able to run the ball. And Tennessee has an outstanding pass rush with Harold Landry and with Jeffrey Simmons. That's exactly what happened. I mean, I think, Jeffrey Simmons, Harold, like they went crazy. The Titans had 9 sacks, which is like an outstanding game from their defensive line. They really shut down Mixon. I think Joe Mixon had like 7 yards rushing in the first half, picked it up a bit in the second half, had that rushing touchdown, finished with 54 yards on 14 carries. So they really did do a good job against the run, and they did a good job against the pass, just like I predicted. However, Joe Burrow, that's a bad man right there. Despite not having any touchdowns, he still looked very good in his second postseason game. He posted 348 yards, and he made that outstanding corner route throw to Jamar Chase to get Evan McPherson, who should already be in the Bengals Hall of Fame or ring in at this point. Just he's been that good. He just had ice in his veins. He said, "Hey, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game. Went out, got it done." And now the Bengals are in the AFC Championship game. That was the first out of 4 fantastic games. And we'll definitely, on the next Stop the Clock, we're going to get all into the Aaron Rodgers situation. But I don't know. Ryan Tannehill did not look good in that game. He was 15 for 24, 220 yards. He had 1 touchdown, which was really nice to A.J. Brown, but 3 interceptions. And they were pretty bad interceptions, too. The one on the first play of the game, the one on the first play of the second half first pass of the second half for the Titans, and the one on this late game, the last pass, I guess, for the Titans. So the first pass after the second half, and the last pass were all interceptions for Ryan Tannehill. Not his best day. And you got a lot of people wondering, like, this is a very talented roster. You have Derrick Henry. Julio Jones is getting up there. You got A.J. Brown, who just continues to produce whenever he's healthy. You have a really good roster here, but the question has to be asked, is Ryan Tannehill as solid as he's been? Is he holding this team back? Is he another sort of Jimmy Garoppolo in the case that, like, yes, they're winning games, a lot of talent around them, but he's not going to elevate them to the next level? And it's a shame because I remember people were always calling him underrated. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at him as just like a slightly more flashy, maybe a little more athletic Jimmy Garoppolo. And at least Jimmy Garoppolo is turning his situation into wins. He's producing wins. They're in the NFC Championship game for the second time in 3 years. So I don't know. I think Tennessee has a decent amount of things to evaluate at the quarterback position. Granted, they did pay Tannehill all that money a couple years back. So I'm very interested to see what Tennessee does at the quarterback position. Let's move on, though, to a team that's both teams have uncertainty at the quarterback position, but one of those teams advanced. And that was the 49ers. The one game this week that I guess it was a toss-up, but not really. Like, people were pretty confident that the Packers were going to win. Not Jude, of course. Jude wanted to rub that in my face. But the Niners in the snow found a way to get it done. Let's talk about the Niners first. I mean, Jimmy G did not have his best day. Like, it's still concerning that, like, he didn't play. That was a bad pick that he threw. in the end zone. The offense for the 49ers put up 6 points. And that was not on a touchdown. That was on 2 field goals. That is all they scored the entire game. And then, of course, their special teams came to play, or I guess the Packers special teams didn't come to play because that was just off, allowing big kickoff returns, a block kick, a block punt that was returned for a touchdown that would end up being the game-winning play. But again, Jimmy G made the throws and got them in the field goal range for Robbie Gould, who has literal ice in his veins, hit his 20th straight postseason field goal. He has not missed in the postseason. Definition of a clutch kicker right there. They're off to go play their division rival in the Rams, who they've beaten 7 or 8 straight times. So they definitely have the Rams number. I'm not going to really talk about the championship games in this podcast. I'm more recapping these ones, but oh my goodness, 49ers, they find a way to get it done. I mean, just the way that they're using Debo, Elijah Mitchell's been nice, and then Kittle kind of had an off game, but we know what Kittle's capable of. So we need to talk about Green Bay though, because you have by far one of the most talented rosters in the National Football League, led by Aaron Rodgers, who probably will still end up winning MVP this year, second straight, and you just can't get it done. I mean, you've had over the last 30 years Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and you have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Like, come on, you gotta be better than that. Like, at least get to another one. They didn't even get, like, I love the meme. It was like you can't get to an NFC championship game, or you can't lose an NFC championship game if you get there in the first place. So Green Bay's got a very interesting offseason ahead of him. Of course, Aaron Rodgers being the front line, what is he going to do? Is he going to stay? I don't think so. Is he going to retire? That's a possibility, but the most likely scenario, in my opinion, is that he goes somewhere else, whether that is Denver, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh's come up, maybe Miami. There's a few other dark horses that I'll definitely talk about later. And then, of course, a good $50 million over the cap limit going into the offseason with massive players on contract years. You got Smith brothers, you got Aaron Rodgers. If he leaves, you could definitely free up some cap space there. You got Devontae Adams, who's looking to become the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Jair Alexander is also on a contract year. So a lot of things to be discussed, and it really makes that Aaron Jones contract not look as good now, because you still have a runner who can definitely get it done in A.J. Dillon. And then you go out and re-sign Aaron Jones as well, which just further, I guess, screws your cap situation. So it's very long and interesting offseason ahead for the Packers. They absolutely have the tools to run it back and make another Super Bowl run if Aaron Rodgers stays. Of course, they do have a first-round pick in Jordan Love, who we've only seen one game out of so far in his career, so we really don't know much about him. I mean, if they loved him in practice, no pun intended, they would probably be a little bit more like, okay, Aaron, that's fine. We have Jordan Love. We're going to be good. We haven't heard that much, and we also haven't seen that much, so definitely interesting to see. All right, let's go on to the Sunday slate from last weekend, the Rams and the Buccaneers. Was this Tom Brady's last game? That's a question that a lot of people are going to be asking over the next couple of weeks, because Tom Brady has been up and down, and just I've heard reports saying like he just doesn't feel like the same Tom Brady, because we know Tom Brady, if something's going to come out, he's going to say, no, that's not true. That's not happening, because there are reports going into the week that he's considering retirement. This could be it for Tom Brady. And he didn't immediately squash that. When he was asked about that and he was like, yeah, I have duties to my wife and to my family, which obviously he does. We all know he's capable of continuing to play, but I don't know. Could this have been the last ride for Tom Brady? And then in the game itself, we still saw what Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He literally erased a 24-point deficit, which the Rams definitely need to shore up on. I mean, it's hard to grade this game for the Rams because they look so dominant. Cooper Kupp was his usual self. He had, 9 receptions, 183 yards, a touchdown, one of those being 75-yarder, and then another one being the game-winning catch. It's like their offense looked on fire, and then they really, I'm not going to say slow down, but just turnovers. Oh, my goodness. They got the best of them. Cam Akers put it on the ground twice. You had the bad snap. Cooper Kupp had a rare fumble. So it was uncharacteristic of them, and it allowed Tampa Bay to get back in the game. And Tom Brady, when he has the chance to do something great, he's going to take it, and that's exactly what he did. However, the Rams spent all of their draft capital to bring in big stars, Von Miller being one of them. He showed he's in playoff form. He's still an edge rusher. He had that clutch strip sack. Of course, they gave it back the next play. That obviously doesn't go against the defense. And then this is why you went out and traded Matthew Stafford. Around 35 seconds left, one timeout, your tie game, get into field goal range. Boom. Let me just air that out. He was able to get it to Cooper Kupp. Again, I don't know why you're sending a zero blitz like in a game-winning situation like that and leaving your safety one-on-one with this year the best receiver in the NFL. I'll never understand it. I mean, maybe he was just I guess he didn't see the Jets-Raiders game last year. But hey, it is what it is. Matthew Stafford, that's why you go out and get him, because he can make those big-time throws. He did that, and now the Rams are at home, or we'll see if it's at home because we know how the Niners faithful likes to travel. But he will be at home playing in the NFC Championship game, exactly who the Rams are expected to be based on how much they've given up to get the players that they have, and now they're here. So this is the expectation for LA at this point, and a phenomenal game. And speaking of phenomenal games, we got easily game of the year, game of the last 5 years. Like, oh my! When I say I was crushed for Bills Mafia, I was like actually hurting for Bills Mafia. Josh Allen is the truth. It's as simple as that. I mean, you talk about the future of the league in this, this game is the future of the league. There's a lot of people saying this is the next Brady and Manning, and I absolutely see it. There's no one else I think is close. I mean, there's talks about Herbert and Burrow and whatnot. Herbert's not in the playoffs right now. Burrow has a chance to shake that narrative up, but as of right now, it is definitely Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes is the premier quarterback matchup in this league. And it was on full display. I mean, Mahomes with a near perfect game, 378, 3 touchdowns, only needed 13 seconds to get in field goal range. And then you can't ask more of Josh Allen, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and 68 yards rushing. They used him a lot on some key third and fourth downs as a runner. I mean, just crushing for Buffalo fans. I mean, Gabriel Davis, can we talk about the day? He had, 8 receptions, 201 yards, 4 touchdowns, which is a postseason record. They were eating, and they have easily one of the best receiving corps in the NFL that doesn't get talked about a lot. I mean, Stephon Diggs didn't have the best day, but Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah McKenzie, they just have weapons on top of weapons on top of weapons. Mark my words, they will be back. This is not the end for the Buffalo Bills. They will be back. Now you got the Chiefs, on the other hand, who found a way to win. The stars shine in the biggest moments. And there's a lot of criticism that's going to go on the NFL's overtime rule in this game. And I agree. I 100% agree that the NFL should change their overtime rules. It's dumb when you have 2 teams that are this hot to give really only one of them a chance with the ball in their hands. I think teams who win the coin toss and get the ball first are, I think, 10-1 is the statistic in overtime over the past couple of years. So definitely something that the NFL, in my opinion, needs to look at. At the same time, though, Buffalo defense sold the bag. This was statistically the number 1 defense in the National Football League, led by Leslie Frazier, and they sold. It's as simple as that. I mean, your offense, Josh Allen, with 4 minutes left, leads a perfect, I tweeted, legacy drive to go take the lead. Then, of course, what do? There's 2 minutes left, I think it was, and you let Tyreek Hill go score a 60-yard touchdown. It's okay, though, because you still have Josh Allen. You have 3 timeouts, a minute left. He walks down the field for his legacy drive, part 2, and scores again to put you up 3 points with 13 seconds left. All you got to do is just not give up 4 yards in 13 seconds, and you are in the AFC Championship game hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're playing prevent defense. They don't need a touchdown. They need a field goal. You have to play uptight. You have to double team Tyreek Hill. Of course, you're worried about him taking it down the field. They're not trying to score a touchdown. It's 13 seconds. They're trying to get in field goal range to tie this game because they know if they get the ball in overtime, they're going to go win. That's exactly what they did. And for you to allow them to do it, they get the kick. Oh, wait, you get a chance to redeem yourself in overtime, maybe get a stop. You can't even do that. I mean, granted, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's brilliant. He's going to do this, but the Buffalo Bills defense, in the good words of Stephen A. Smith, should be ashamed of themselves. It was a pitiful performance. And this is not to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He proved that time and time again. He proved that in this game. The Chiefs, outstanding job, and I'm not trying to take anything away from what they did. It was outstanding. But Buffalo, come on. You got to be better. And I think something that Buffalo needs to address in the offseason now is pass rush. Their offense is good. You're fine. You need a pass rush. They spent high draft pick. They got Gregory Rousseau. I'm butchering that name. And they got a few other pass rushers through the draft. They need to get a guy who can really get after the quarterback in these big time games because they just had all day to throw, and that's kind of why they lost this game. But oh my goodness, what an outstanding weekend of football. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Let me know if you have any ideas or questions that you want me to answer on the podcast. Hit me up on Instagram, ThatFootballTopic. Get ready for another outstanding week of AFC Championship and NFC Championship, the games. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast and have a nice day.